Zeke. Instead, he's picked by Montez Sweat, who runs it back for the 15-yard touchdown. Washington wins it 41-16 is our final score. Alex Fisk, 19 of 26 for 149 yards. After the game, Mike McCarthy talking about that questionable fake punt play call.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a big play opportunity. The way you view it, there's certain things you look for tendency-wise on when and where, But it's obviously we didn't execute it, and as those things go, I mean, obviously it's ultimately my responsibility when, particularly a play like that doesn't work. But we're trying to generate a big play at that point in the game. Prior, the information that you look for going into it, it was a solid call.
Mike, what has the last couple 24 to 48 hours been like for this team?
I think stating obvious, extremely difficult. I mean, obviously with the passing of Marcus Paul, I mean, it was, a lot of heavy hearts, but I can't say enough about our football team, about our players, the way they came out, started the game, and, we had a number of adverse things to deal with throughout the game. We just, we didn't get it going to where we wanted to get it going in the second half, but you find out a lot about people in these times, and I can't tell you how proud I am as this football team. But yes, it's a week that I don't think any of us will ever forget.
Mike, can you also talk that there was that point in the late in the first half where you had the 4th and 1, a little bit less than 4th and 1, and the call there to throw the ball downfield, and what happened?
Oh, it was a clean matchup. Obviously, had one-on-one on the perimeter, and obviously the result wasn't what we were looking for. I think everybody's seen what happened on the play, but it's those are plays that you look to create opportunities, and it was a good play call, and we had one-on-one on the outside, and we just didn't convert.
All right, Michael Robinson and David Carr back with me. I mean, we're listening pretty intently to Mike McCarthy here, guys. Obviously, losing those 2 starting tackles out the gate, really, in the first quarter there. Very, very tough for Dallas to recover. But there were a lot of other things that went wrong. David, what did you really glean from what we saw from Dallas in this game?
Well, there's certain situations that stand out in every game, and the reasons why you lose football games. And you have a 4th and inches, you end up trying to throw the football. That obviously it could have been a quarterback sneak. Could have found a way to get that. You throw a 10-yard pass to CeeDee Lamb, a young wide receiver who, man, God bless him, loved to throw that pass, but maybe not in that situation. The fake punt, if it works, obviously, everybody loves the fake punt, but I mean, right here, you needed less than a foot. So, I mean, that's a tough one to swallow for me. CeeDee ended up dropping the ball later to tie the game, and then you go fake punt, and maybe it works. You go for the Philly, which you're actually a Cowboy, so how does that work? You can't run the Philly if you're a Cowboy. We've seen teams try that. There's a lot of questionable things that happen here, and I will say this, though. I know Marcus Paul. I knew Marcus Paul when I was with the Giants. He was an assistant strength coach there. Marcus Paul is one of the best human beings I've ever been around in a football locker room. So I can't imagine how difficult that is for the Cowboys to be able to physically and emotionally go out there and try to play that game. That's extremely difficult. But you kind of you go over the top of that when you start doing things that just make it even more difficult for your football team. And that's where you almost say, Coach, you got to help me out. And this situation, I don't know if the coaching staff helped those guys out.
Yeah, David. I mean, a lot of things that this team is going through. Obviously, the death of their strength and conditioning coach. Long week. They lost their franchise quarterback early in the season. They're not winning, and everybody expected Dallas to win this year. So, of course, this team is dealing with a lot. But when I look at the team and take an honest assessment of it, none of the players truly take ownership of their jobs and of the football team. See, all of the great teams, whether you're winning a championship or whether you're going deep in the playoffs, they take ownership of the team. You can't just make the excuse that, oh, well, the coach's scheme doesn't work, or, and finger point. That's woulda, coulda, shoulda type of football, and that's what losers do. So when you look at this football game, David, and you talk about throwing the football on 4th and 1, you talk about faking a punt in a critical situation of a game. What do you expect, man? The Dallas Cowboys aren't good this year. So the coaches have to do something outside of the box to try to generate something. 4th and 1. Ordinarily, we would have expected them to just line up behind that big offensive line, give it to one of the highest paid running backs in the National Football League, and getting a yard is easy. But now that offensive line isn't assembled that way anymore. There's a lot of injuries, and Ezekiel Elliott can't hold on to the football. So you know what you do? You go to your strength. Your strength is on the outside, and they just didn't make a play. So when I look at the Dallas Cowboys team, they're just upside down. They're just not very good right now. And again, they still have a chance. Even with all that I just said, they still have a chance to win the NFC East.
It's insane, you guys. You can say all of these things, and yet, and still, there is a potential possibility here where they could really pull it out. I love the part of the accountability, Emrod, because truly, as we've said before in the show, the NFL does not care. Of course, not to say we don't feel for folks in some, definitely in a 2020 season like this one, but once you get out on the field, it does not matter. All right, Emrod, David, thanks. Let's get you to our first game of Thanksgiving Day, Texans at Lions. Detroit trying to bounce back from last week's shutout loss. First quarter, Lions ball, 7-0 lead. First and 10, Matthew Stafford chucks it. Nope, intercepted by J.J. Watt. 19 yards for the touchdown for J.J. A couple of folks were talking smack on him. He says, happy Thanksgiving instead. Fourth quarter, Texans ball leading 34-17. Time for some trickery. Deshaun Watson hands it to Duke, sends it right back to him, and he launches it to a wide open Will Fuller. 34 yards for the touchdown. Texans win 41-25. Everyone's celebrating, except for me. I left Fuller on the bench this week. Here's Watson.
When I called the play, Duke looked at me and was like, hey, if we got pressure, I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to pitch it back. So that's why he kind of carried the ball a little bit longer than what he's supposed to. And when he kept it, I just called him. I was like, hey, Duke. I was yelling his name. And he just turned around and threw it back to me. And I grabbed it, and I seen Will naked. So I got it to Will, and that's how it really happened. So he was really keeping it because that was the plan. If pressure, keep it. But I called his name, and he trusted me and pitched it back, and I just grabbed it and launched it.
I don't know the name of the play. He just told me that he was wanted to run a flea flicker, and I said, okay, let's go with it. And so he made the call, and then we executed the play.
Don't you just love Romeo Crennel? All right, the news of the day, though, Lamar